crazy thing about this is this isn't the only time that this has happened, something like this. You've also got in 1967, you've got the Malmstrom Air Force Base encounter. Now, that involves Captain Robert Salas. Captain Robert Salas has climbed to rank of captain. He'd been in the Air Force for 7 years. And on this very night in 1967, he had an incredible encounter. He was actually 60 feet below in the nuclear bunker. He was the guy that was in charge of the nuclear missiles. He was a nuclear missile launch officer. So if the President of the United States gave him a call and said, we need to send these nuclear weapons to whatever target, whether that's Russia or China, he was the guy who done that. He was the guy who pressed that red button and sent them. So when he's 60 feet below, he gets a phone call from the top guardsman. Top guardsman tells Robert Salas that he sees this red glowing UFO object outside of the base, and it's performing incredible maneuvers, and it's got no noise whatsoever. Captain Robert Salas tells him to make sure it doesn't go above the base, and to ring him back if there's any sort of update on the situation. Only a few minutes go by and the phone rings again. This time the top guardsman is acting a lot more frantic. He's a lot more worried. He's shouting and screaming on the phone. And what he's saying is that the red glowing object is now directly above the silo, directly above these missile weapons. Now, a bit more context with that. These missile weapons, there was 10 of them in total, and each one was 100 times more powerful than the ones that hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Wow, that's incredible, isn't it?
So that would have caused huge devastation if one of these were ever set off. So thank God that these were never ever sent off to anywhere in the world.
Jeez, thank God for that.
And basically, while this UFO was over the silo, the top guardsman was on the phone to Captain Robert Salas, telling them what's happening with them. You know, the UFO being above them. These red lights start going from green to red, which basically means that they are now unlaunchable, and this happened one at a time. So it wasn't just one missile that was rendered unlaunchable, it was 10, and it was all in a row, all at the same time, while this UFO was above the silo. So this can't be any sort of coincidence. This has never happened before. This was something that Robert Salas was very worried about. It took over 24 hours to get them missiles back on track, get them back working again. Full investigation was carried out, and Robert Salas again was forced to never speak about it again, to sign a disclosure agreement, and he was actually told that that exact thing had happened a week earlier with the other crew that were on shift, but he was never told of this scenario.
Wow.
So again, another incredible encounter.
So many around nuclear facilities all the
around
time.
Exactly. This just doesn't happen in America. Everyone thinks that all this happens in America. It doesn't. It's happened in RAF Bentwaters and Rendlesham Forest case. It's happened reportedly in the Ukraine in 1982, where
also 86.
In 86,
Chernobyl. Supposedly, they were there after Chernobyl happened. They were spotted around the location.
So again, there's just so many different cases, not just in the US. It's happened in the UK, it's happened in Russia, and I'm pretty certain it's probably happened in other places that we've never even heard of.
Yeah, for sure.
To furthermore to go even more in details with this, I've got an amazing encounter, or a close encounter of the third kind to talk about. That again is surrounding the New Mexico area.
Yeah, it's a lot of activity around this New Mexico area. It's
just
so
like
much.
Some sort of hotbed for UFO
spot.
activity.
So much. There's theories that saying some people that maybe they're recharging their crafts off the nuclear, or they know that they were playing with some very dangerous toys.
Yeah, as I say, I don't really know why they're there, what they're doing there, but they're obviously doing it for some sort of reason. James Fox, after speaking to Robert Salas himself, Robert Salas, got asked that same question, and he said that he felt like it was taking matches away from a baby. Yeah. So he felt like that, these craft, these extraterrestrials that he believes were in them, were basically saying, what are you doing with these nukes? Stop messing around with them. You can't handle them. They're very dangerous. You're going to destroy your planet. And that's why they were switching them offline just like that.
It happens in 1967 at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana. Nick is on his way to meet a key witness to the event. Robert Salas served 7 years in the Air Force, rising to the rank of captain.
So tell me what happened. March 24th, 1967, I and my commander, Fred Mywall, were on duty in Roy, Montana.
The men are stationed in the missile launch bunker, 60 feet below ground.
We had control of 10 nuclear missiles. The Minuteman I. Each missile had an 800 kiloton nuclear weapon.
If ordered, it's Salas's job to launch the warheads.
I was on alert status. In other words, my commander, Fred, was taking a little nap break. Sometime in the early morning hours, I get a call.
Salas.
On the other end of the phone is a terrified guard stationed above the bunker.
He's screaming into the phone. He's yelling, "Sir, I'm looking at the front gate. I see this glowing red object."
The strange red object is moving like nothing the guards have ever seen before.
They were flying very fast across the sky, stopping on a dime, reversing course, making 90-degree angle turns, making no noise. These guys were very, very frightened. It was a critical situation.
As fear spreads above ground, things are about to get even more terrifying below.
I need you to wake up. I've got the weirdest...
Salas wakes his commander and tells him the guard's report of a UFO above the base. Suddenly, the unthinkable happens.
The lights turned from green to red. In other words, red meaning unlaunchable.
Everything went red.
All 10 missiles were disabled, every single one of them.
So what does that mean?
It means if we were given the order and if we had to go through our launch procedures, they couldn't be launched. This was an inexplicable situation.
With the missiles down, America's nuclear shield is compromised.
What was going through your mind when all this was happening?
You know, I'm thinking we're under some sort of an attack.
As Salas and his commander desperately try to get their missiles back online, they learn that a week earlier, another missile launch crew at Malmstrom Base reported seeing the same strange lights. And seconds later, their nuclear warheads also go offline.
All 10 of their missiles went down while a UFO was overhead. All 10 of our missiles went down. UFO was immediately over our facility.
What did you think when you found out that this had happened not once, but twice?
These were the most sophisticated weapons we had, and so it was worrying that something very unknown, very unusual, very strange could disable them.
Is this a coordinated attack by the same unidentified craft?
Give us a reading on each one of them!
In both cases, the weapons are out of action for nearly 24 hours.
We did our chance. There's no way!
So what did shut down the nuclear missiles at Malmstrom Air Base? And why?
This was extraterrestrial in nature. I honestly believe that.